My name is Susan Komives. I'm a professor at the University of Maryland, and it was my pleasure to be a member of the ensemble that developed the social change model of leadership development. This model came about in 1996 out of a federal grant to work toward effective leadership development programs, and was led by Helen Aston and Alexander Aston at the University of California, Los Angeles. This model is one of the most widely used in higher education, and it's my pleasure to describe it to you. I want to introduce the model to you briefly, and do that by saying this approach to leadership, as you'll see on the screen, looks at leadership as a purposeful, collaborative, values-based process that results in social change. Now, we also talked about this not just as a social change outcome, but this is socially responsible leadership. Even if a person's involved in a manufacturing company, they should be engaging in the leadership for that entity in a socially responsible way with their employees, with the community around them, with their environment. And so this is that approach to leadership that treats all those things very preciously and approaches it as a value. The model itself then is a values-based model. There are 3 clusters of values that interact with each other to promote this kind of leadership for social change. The first of those clusters are individual values. And in the individual values set are consciousness of self, congruence, and commitment. Consciousness of self is that mindfulness of knowing oneself well, knowing one's strengths and weaknesses, one's motivations, where those motivations come from, one's belief system. Congruence is then walking the talk. It's practicing the beliefs that are important to you, that they live in your everyday actions. And commitment is the ability to engage in something you have a passion about, to follow personal goals and purposes, and stick with something that's important for you to accomplish. There's also the group set of values. The group values are collaboration, working effectively with other people in a shared kind of process, particularly around the next value, which is common purpose. The ability to come together around shared purposes, to listen and respectfully hear what other people are saying so that you might modify your own perception of what the purpose of the group is, to incorporate that of others, but being able to come to common purpose. And the third is to handle controversies with civility. Every group is going to have some kind of conflict or some kind of thoughtful difference of opinion with each other. And how do we even engage those controversies in a respectful and civil manner so the group can question its purposes and go deeper and make deeper commitments and embrace controversy and embrace it as a route to even better collaboration and consensus. And then the third set of values in the model are the societal or community values, which we call citizenship. And by citizenship here, we don't mean voting or acting as a citizen in one's particular community. We mean being engaged in one's communities of practice. That in any group of people that one is engaged with, you're going to be an active participant in the processes of those groups and working with others to accomplish these shared purposes. Now, you'll notice in the model that they're all connected by interacting arrows. These arrows are signaling that the values interact with each other. If a group is having trouble coming to common purpose and people can't agree on what they're there for, then go back to the individual values and see what about one's own commitments might be intercepting this, or what about a lack of awareness of self to not know why you're resisting so much what others may seem they want to do. So this approach to leadership believes then that leadership is inclusive. It is a process, not just a property of a positional person in charge of the group, that it's essential to make this a better world, that we work together effectively in collaboration and common purposes. So the model lives in that way. The model's used on college campuses, and it's the most highly used model we understand on college campuses. It's used in a number of ways. One way is as a framework to design a whole leadership program, like a co-curricular program, a leadership certificate program, a 4-year sequential leadership program. It's also used then as a perspective on leadership that students can be taught that empowers them to see that they're bringing the best of themselves into the process of leadership with others, and then they indeed are doing leadership in that process. Now, for all of you that are interested in the model, there are a number of resources available to you. Some of these are on the screen now. One is the original guidebook that the Social Change for Leadership Development Ensemble developed. Those are obtainable through the National Clearinghouse for Leadership Programs. That was the original document in 1996. Because there was no textbook for college students about this, and yet the model is used widely, we have developed through the National Clearinghouse a textbook for college students called Leadership for a Better World, Understanding the Social Change Model. And this book is available, often used in classes. There's also an instructor manual that people might find helpful. And then surrounding the model are a number of other supports for people using it. The first one on this screen is a website, socialchangemodel.org, which is a site within the National Clearinghouse for Leadership Programs, which is a Ning, and people can post activities and blog on experiences. A lot of resources are there at no cost for the use and support in the model. There's also an instrument that was developed that does measure the model. It's the Socially Responsible Leadership Scale, and it can be obtained in a site license to use with a class, use it as a pre and post test measure, or use it in the materials the student receives with it to help them assess themselves in a teaching situation or in a retreat. And then there is an international study called the Multi-Institutional Study of Leadership that's been occurring every spring since 2006 that has a large database on how college students perceive themselves to be on the 7 C's of this model, along with a number of other factors, so that educators can design interventions that would help develop this better. And all of these resources are available around this model. I would encourage you to use this model with college students. It's inclusive, it's empowering, it values shared processes and teamwork, and it works exceptionally well with college students in all of their diverse perspectives in how they can come together to make this a better world.